Hello to everyone tuning in and welcome to Fidelity Next. I'm your host, Tamara Radachai. Today we're going to be diving into some career journeys in advisor sales. Here with us to share their insights and experiences are Catherine Thomas, Senior Business Development Associate, and Jake Wisniewski, Business Development Representative. If you have any questions for us during the show, please feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to you after. Catherine, Jake, welcome to Fidelity Next.
Thank you very much.
Us. All right, so let's start things off with sort of your origin story. Where did you go to school? How did you come to be at Fidelity? And what do you do at Fidelity? Catherine, let's start with you.
So I actually grew up in Toronto, but I went to school at McGill in Montreal. And I wanted to kind of see more of the world before I solidified exactly what I want to do for my career. So I did a couple work terms abroad. I worked in Berlin briefly. I did some work with a group that connects female tech founders in Canada to Silicon Valley. But I always knew that I liked the customer-facing side and I loved the relationship building. So eventually networked and was connected with one of the wholesalers here, and they told me about the job and it just seemed like the perfect thing for me. So I interviewed and shortly after settled back in Toronto and started here at Fidelity.
Cool. Jake, what's your story?
Yeah, so my name's Jake. I grew up in Burlington, Ontario. Went to Guelph. Originally, I actually studied geography and history at Guelph, hoping to become a teacher. A couple of years later, I wasn't really loving kind of what I was studying. And at the time, me and my best friend had actually started an app together and kind of had the idea of an app. And I really fell in love with kind of that sales aspect of it. And that was a great learning experience. So then I decided to make the choice to switch into commerce. And after that, I kind of worked in a couple of different internships in wealth management and just absolutely loved it. And through working in wealth management, I was lucky enough to get kind of connected and familiarized with Fidelity. And right away, I loved the company. Everybody on the other side of wealth management just spoke really highly of the company and of Fidelity. So kind of networked my way, did some coffee chats with different DVPs and BDMs, and kind of lucky enough to get in here.
Cool. Another question for both of you. What's your favorite part about being in advisor sales, and what do you do in advisor sales exactly at Fidelity? Catherine.
So for me, my background was not in finance actually. So when I went to school, kind of similar as Jake, I took sociology, English lit, and business. So a wide variety of things. And the beautiful thing about advisor sales is that it doesn't really matter your background. As long as you show up to work and you work hard, I think that your grit and your work ethic gets you a lot further. So it's a great space if somebody is really goal oriented and really likes pushing themselves. And that's something that I really love about the job is that if you really internally are motivated, it's a great space to see how you can challenge yourself every single day to do better, to be better, and to kind of grow in your role.
Jake, what's your favorite part about it?
I think without a doubt, the people. I think just being out of university and being surrounded by 20 plus people, not only at that same age in life, but the same kind of stage in life where we're all out of university. We have that growing experience together of transitioning from university and transitioning into the workforce. And I think to kind of, be able to share the stage in life with all the different BDRs and kind of go through this together and just have that connection is truly special.
Mm-hmm. And Catherine, you mentioned the tech side of investing and, the founder space as well. How do you apply the founder mindset to your role in advisor sales?
I think that's a great question because a lot of the times I find that you are not always given that yes. And I think one of the big, pieces that you can take from either the founder side is that how are you going to turn that no into an opportunity? Because I think a lot of times in advisor sales, the answer is not going to be obvious. And sometimes you have to work harder to figure out what that opening is. But as long as you're not dwelling on the no's that you receive and you figure out how to translate that going forward, learn from your mistakes and really propel you forward, I think that that's one of the things I've really taken to always figure out the upside, even if it's not so obvious.
Turn the no into a yes.
Exactly.
And Jake, you mentioned an entrepreneurial experience where you had an app. Can you tell us about that whole story, and then maybe how advice you'd give to people with that sort of entrepreneur mindset?
Yeah, of course. So it actually started in university, and it was kind of based, off of a problem. Me and my roommate, he had a car, I didn't, and we were constantly driving around, carpooling. We were just getting into little arguments about the how much do I owe you questions. So we kind of thought, why don't we solve that problem and actually make a solution? So we ended up developing an app that tracks everyone else for gas on a road trip. And yeah, it was just an unbelievable learning experience. We ended up scaling it to a few thousand users before kind of selling it off. So it was, yeah, it's really special to kind of get that. And it's really honestly helped me throughout my sales career, because I think entrepreneurship and sales are both a lot alike in terms of thinking outside the box. At the end of the day, like, you don't really have somebody micromanaging you. It's up to you to have that motivation, to have that drive. So I think it's kind of really helped me transition my sales run at Fidelity. And yeah, it's really just helped me the way they think. And other people that have that entrepreneurial mindset, I think sales are definitely a great aspect for them.
So you sold an app before even graduating university. How nice. Congrats on that. That's impressive. Catherine, you've said you've had experience, working at different companies, and then now here, sort of working your way up within a company. Mm-hmm. What's your stance on having that sort of growth mindset and growing within a company as that relates to sales?
I think it's a great question. At my previous companies I worked at, there was a lot of turnover. And I found that I really wanted a space where there's going to be some consistency. And I think at a lot of the times there's a misconception, especially at our age when you graduate, that you have to hop from job to job to get the promotion, to get the pay raise. But what's great about Fidelity is that really it's about longevity here. So I think that you can feel in the space itself, whenever people are just there for a couple years here, my coworkers are here for 5 to 10 years. For, even I've been here for over a year myself. It doesn't feel that way. And I think it cultivates an environment where people really want to help you because they know that you're going to be by each other's side for the long term. It's great also for mentorship. People that I chat with on the floor, they've been here for many more years than I can and provide a lot more guidance as to how I can really excel from the beginning. And so I think that that growth mindset and that mindset to really do the most with what you have and really think more long term, I think that that's one of the great things about working here.
So Jake, you mentioned that you love the camaraderie aspect of sales, the chit chat, the talking to people, dealing with clients and people on the team. How does that play into your day-to-day in advisor sales? Yeah,
no, I think it's absolutely huge. I think, like I mentioned earlier, we're all in this together and we all have that same goal, and that's to kind of get over to that sales side. But it's kind of great, being able to lean on my peers for that learning. At the end of the day, it is a slightly different type of sales. There is kind of that technical component. So I think the camaraderie aspect of just, being able to lean on people if, I'm ever kind of struggling in one area, or just that learning aspect is absolutely huge, and it truly makes a great kind of work culture knowing that I have people that I can rely on through a day-to-day.
And just building on that, what do you think are some qualities that someone would need to have to be able to thrive in that environment? Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it is sales, so I think that those interpersonal skills, that outgoing, that kind of friendly person is somebody that would really thrive at Fidelity. At the end of the day, it's a very fast-paced environment, and I think social skills is huge at a company like this. And is that something that maybe you get help with along the way from the company? For sure. I think that the mentorship is absolutely great. Like Catherine was mentioned earlier, it's a very open door policy in terms of whenever I'm reaching out to Catherine or other BDAs or BDMs, like everybody is just so willing to kind of provide that mentorship because once upon a time Catherine was a BDR, once upon a time Catherine's BDM was a BDR, same with this DVP. So just to have that mentorship to lean on and just being able to know that kind of people have been through the same learning opportunities and learning curves is absolutely great. Mm-hmm. And I know the learning and development aspect of it is really rigorous on the sales side as well.
It is, but I think that's one of the beautiful things actually about the sales position is that there's not as many companies out there who invest so heavily in your development. Mm-hmm. For instance, when you're at the business development associate level, you go through a 6-month program. Everything from product knowledge even to etiquette training, you're taught the basics so they never put you in a position where they think you're not going to exceed. Mm-hmm. You're given all those building blocks to make sure that you actually have the foundations, and it's quite a unique experience. Like a lot of my other friends, I don't know of many other companies that do this, and then same with when you get to the business development manager role. To become a senior there's another training program that you go through as well. So you're always building on those skills, and you can also do external credentials as well. And Fidelity's happy to support with that.
Love that. So Catherine, what's something that you're looking forward to, and what drives you to get there?
I think, as you mentioned, there's a pipeline of development. I think for me, it's just really getting to that next step and really continuing to grow. I think that every day I'm learning. If I look back to where I was a year ago in this position, same with Jake, like every day you're learning something new on the job. And for me, it's just, okay, how much can I really fit into my brain? How much can I really blossom in these different positions? So the next step would be business development manager, and everyone's hustling hard to get there. So that would be the next thing I'm looking forward to. And in terms of motivation, it's funny, there's an equal amount of, I think, internal competition and external competition. So it's finding that healthy balance to figure out exactly what's going to get you there.
Hey, we're all motivated in different ways, right? Jake, you mentioned starting out in geography, history, and then transitioning to commerce.
For sure.
Which I think is common in students, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on sort of shifting career focus sort of midway through, and what advice would you give to students who might be in a similar scenario?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think at the end of the day, just do what you love. I love Fidelity. I love coming into work because I feel like, it makes me who I am. I'm at the end of the day, I am a pretty social guy. I like people, so I think being able to be in a career where those are actually kind of needed skills is really nice. And I think at the end of the day, if you love what you do, success will follow.
As far as like shifting that while you're in school, what was kind of going through your brain, and how did you motivate yourself to actually make that decision?
Yeah, no, I mean at the time I was taking geography and history, and I didn't love it. I think that I was kind of just going through the motions. My grades weren't necessarily as good as I'd hoped they could have been. I had a lot of friends that were studying commerce and finance at the time, and I think just being able to see the way that they think, they were able to kind of get that learning experience from thinking outside the box. They were going to case competition and getting that knowledge. And yeah, it's just kind of more for me. So I think that switch was great, and yeah.
So follow what energizes you.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah. Another question for both of you. So we actually have a lot of young people at Fidelity. Over 30% of our people are under 30 years old. And growing year over year, it seems. So why do you think Fidelity is a great place for young people to build a career? Catherine?
I think it's funny. So the sales team right now, I'd say, roughly 60 people all within the same age. And what's great is that I think Jake and I actually spoke about this before. You leave university, you think you're never really going to have that environment again, and that, long are the days. But it's wonderful because you're learning every day, you're pushing yourself, and you're around people who are in the same stage of life or similar stage of life as you. And I think sometimes there's a big jump after university. Let's say you get a big corporate job and you're figuring out, your life in a new city, in a new position, and there's not many people around you that you can relate to because, let's say, you're working with senior execs who've been there for 30 plus years. The great thing is that you're all figuring it out together. And I'm sure it's mentioned many times on the webcast, but it's a private company, and so you have the time, you have the space, and you have the resources to really invest in young professionals. And you have a lot of people that really want to be here. I think that's the biggest piece, as Jake mentioned yourself, do what motivates you, find what you love, and with the amount of people around here, you're going to be hard pressed to find someone who's stuck around here for as many years who doesn't love what they do.
Jake, anything to add to that as far as a place for young people to thrive?
Completely agree with what Catherine was saying, and I think that just the learning and the development is just absolutely great. I think that they know where you are in life, they know that you're a student, they know that everybody has different backgrounds. They just do such a great job making you feel welcomed right from the start. And I think just to be in an environment like that is an amazing place to be in your career. It's just great to be down the road.
Great. And you both found your way to Fidelity through networking. I know you weren't co-op students here. Very often we have guests here who are co-op students, but neither of you did that. You sort of both found your way here through various networking scenarios. So another question for both of you to end things off. What piece of advice do you have for young people who are sort of navigating, the networking world to get them where they want to go?
For me, the first full-time job actually I got after university was through meeting somebody in an airport in New Orleans, and the flight was delayed, and we just ended up in the line together waiting for our ticket, and I just asked them, why are you here? Are you looking to hire? Because they said they worked at a company looking to expand to the States. So I said, I'm a fresh graduate, can I hand you my resume, essentially? I think oftentimes we know exactly what will get us to the next stage, but we're just scared to do it, and I think just have the courage and have the motivation to just do what you know is going to get you ahead. If you get a no, as I mentioned, turn it into an opportunity. Say, okay, maybe that wasn't the right step for me at that stage of my life, but I can pivot then. I can figure out exactly a different stage to go. So for me, it's just put yourself out there. If you get a no, no one's always going to get 100% yeses, but I say seize the opportunities that you can find out there, and also seek them out for yourself. I think if you sit on your hands waiting, they're not really going to come to you. You have to really have the chutzpah to get it.
And not asking is a guaranteed no. So,
Exactly.
Right. Jake, what about you? What's your advice for networking into
Yeah,
a job?
for sure. I think reach out to people. And I think you never know the connection that's ultimately going to be the connection that actually, helps progress you in your career. For me, I'd reached out to a lot of people, had a lot of coffee chats. There was actually Fidelity where I ended up doing a coffee chat with one of the wholesalers here, and we had that connection. He had gone to my high school, gone to the same university as me, so we just had that automatic connection, and he just ended up referring me to our sales manager and ended up getting the job. So reach out to people. You never know the one that's going to kind of make that big of an impact in your life. So yeah.
Plus, you never know, it might not be in that immediate moment, but, down the line, something might
Exactly.
pop up, they'll think
For
of
sure.
you. Exactly. All right, great. Well, both, thank you so much for the discussion today. It was really inspiring hearing your stories, a little something different than we usually do.
Of course.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Ron.
Totally. To those tuning in, thank you for joining today's episode of Fidelity Next. If you want to catch a replay of this episode, you can find it on Fidelity Canada's YouTube channel under the Fidelity Next playlist. Or if you prefer to just listen, you can find our past episodes everywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple and Spotify. Thanks again for joining the discussion today, and we'll see you on the next episode.